life is coming from you, not at you at the end of the day, right? And I also feel like it was a really big month of learning for me because I didn't know how to feel. On one of the weeks, I had 3 events back to back. I got my first ever self-tape for a Netflix role. Now, am I in Netflix right now? Hey inspirators, it's Vanessa here and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today's video is my annual yearly recap. I think I've been filming these videos since 2018, so it's definitely been a long time and a very big journey, and it definitely has become this kind of tradition here on my channel because it allows me to just reflect on the previous year. I've seen quite a few different people doing a similar take on this, which is, I mean, it could be like writing a letter to your future self or answering certain questions that will help you understand what you've achieved and learned throughout the year. So with that being said, I would highly recommend that you also join in on this and note down what you're grateful for or what you've learned in the previous year in 2024, because it really does help you understand where you are and where you want to go in the next year. But enough of all of that context, make sure that you also like this video and subscribe, and let's jump straight into January last year. So in January in 2024, I think I was in a very optimistic mood because I was consuming a lot of productivity content at that time, a lot of New Year's resolutions content, which I feel like we're all pretty bombarded with in the beginning of the year anyways. So I was super focused on my vision board for 2024, and I think the first few months of the year I could really see those things coming true. And then I think at some point I became quite comfortable in where I was and I kind of started to coast throughout the year, if that makes sense. And I feel like also while I'm going through this, it's to reflect on not just like the career achievements, but also just like the small wins. Anyway, so in January I featured in a short film. I had a very small part, it's not out yet, so when it is, I'll be sure to update you guys, and I give all of my updates and, you know, on time updates on my Instagram account. And this project was with Fully Focused Productions, and that project was backed by New Horizons, which is a charity combating homelessness. And I think that's why I was extra excited about being a part of the project in any capacity that is. I think that is definitely because I've always had a big passion for the crisis of homelessness and making it a more discussed topic, and that's definitely something that I was able to do with this project. In January I also got to work with Meta, which was a huge deal. So my role was to film some social content with them, which, by the way, reality of everything, that content never came out, and I'll show you pictures here of me being in the Meta building because I was there. I am lying, but sometimes things that you do don't come out and the public or the world doesn't get to see it, and that's also why it's so important to focus on the way it makes you feel as a person and the way it helps you grow, because you can't be living for a performance all the time because sometimes it doesn't get aired. But overall, the whole experience was super valuable for me, and it definitely helped me get into that mindset of attracting different auditions and acting jobs and kind of commercial work more into my life. And I think definitely this year, although I haven't booked anything massive yet, it definitely was a year of small wins for me and proving to myself that I actually can achieve what I want if you put in all the work for it. And also the start of the year really solidified me beginning to attend a lot more screenings and premiere events, which I am so grateful for, because a few years back I would have been shocked at how much stuff I got to do in 2024 and how many looks I came to serve, honey. But that was definitely the first of many more. Now moving on to February, I got to do quite a bit of hosting and filming work with Fully Focused, which I was so over the moon about because I'd really been wanting to step into more of that hosting on camera role within the organisation. So linked to the New Horizons charity, I got to film and host a panel. But the project basically put a spotlight on people who've either experienced homelessness and their journey out of homelessness, and specialists and professionals who are putting in all of the work to combat the issue. I also got to host a film panel, which was a selection of short films which go on the NYM YouTube channel. So I will of course put the link somewhere in this corner, wherever the I button is. You guys should definitely go and check out the NYM channel if you don't already know of it, because it has the most amazing films on there which are made by young people, for young people, and yeah, it's just something that I am very proud to be a part of. And finally, I got to work with Bite Back, which is a charity founded by Jamie Oliver, and we got to film some really fun content at their media press day. As I mentioned just a moment ago about celebrating those small wins in terms of acting and auditions, I got my first ever self-tape for a Netflix role. Now, am I in Netflix right now? Not yet. But I don't think people really understand how big of a deal it is, even if you don't even get to like a final stage or the final cut or you're in the show, whatever it is, even just being selected to tape is really quite a big deal. So the fact that I got the opportunity to tape an audition for a Netflix role was just completely beyond me and really did show me that anything is possible. Now in March I got to work with Sky and we got to go to their headquarters, and let me tell you, their HQ is absolutely insane. I had a field trip on that filming day. I got to participate in one of their filming projects and I got to meet loads of really lovely people on that day, and once again it was just a really lovely and valuable experience, and I think all of those small wins along the way really helped me understand that I did have it within me to book stuff or to be good enough for a role or to go up for something, because I think as someone who's trying to achieve anything in any industry, if you keep getting loads of no's, it does start to get to you just a little bit. So getting those small wins really did help uplift me, especially in the start of the year. That's what I needed. March was the month where I finally got to create and finalize my dream room, and I had been planning and thinking about this room transformation months prior, so finally being able to look at the finalized room and know that all of my hard work contributed to the final product was really a feeling like no other, and that in itself just felt like a massive accomplishment. I was also kindly featured in PA Life magazine for International Women's Day. I got to answer a few questions about women's empowerment and about my journey so far, so that was really lovely. April, you were a very big month. So first off, I went to Dubai in April with my mum and my grandma, and we got to see so many amazing things that we didn't get to see the last time we went, which I think was back in 2017, and it was to celebrate my grandma's birthday. And on her actual birthday we went up to the Burj Khalifa, which was it's a cool memory, and it's not going anywhere, you know. We definitely faced some fears going on those attractions, but overall it was a really lovely trip. When I got back from Dubai, I got to do my dream photo shoot, and please note that I had this on my vision board or vision boards plural, for quite a few years now. And I definitely think growing up I always wanted to wear those really pretty dresses. I definitely think that photo shoot was something for my younger self, and she would be losing her mind right now if she knew the outfits and the dresses that I've been able to wear. I had the amazing opportunity to work with the Mind charity, and that is definitely something to tick off my speaking bucket list. I've always loved what they do and have wished to work with them for ages. It was quite an intimate audience, but I think that really made it magical and made us all connect with people individually. Really glad that I got to be a part of that. For my final A-level project in college, I organised another event. This was a really rewarding moment for me because I literally got to bring in people who I have admired and supported for years now and who I'm quite close to bring them in and speak on a panel and share their wisdom to the school. So it was definitely another success and one for the books. And let's not forget, guys, couldn't do this month without mentioning this, which is probably the biggest accomplishment of the whole year, I would have to say, is that the Zendaya liked my Instagram post. When I got that notification, guys, I'm reliving it right now as I'm saying it. I have never been so gobsmacked and shell-shocked in my life. And what's the first thing that I did? I pulled my phone out and I filmed myself. Now, if I could describe May in one sentence, it would be, as another door closes, another one opens. Now, I don't know if it's me, but it feels like the first few months of 2024 felt like a separate year to the last months of 2024. So it feels weird to think that all of this was happening in the same year when it feels like they were two completely different stages of my life. And the reason for this is because May was the month where I was completely finished and done with school forever. And I also feel like it was a really big month of learning for me because I didn't know how to feel. It was the end of this massive chapter of my life. I wasn't necessarily going to be in a bad place after leaving school, so I wasn't anxious about anything. And I think a big part of me expected to feel quite low about it and kind of lose my mind about it, if I'm being really honest, with the months leading up to it. I think I shocked myself in the way I was able to just accept what was going on, which I know might sound a little bit like, well, of course you're just going to accept it because you're not going to go back to school, are you? It was just accepting the fact that I actually was growing up. There's nothing that I was going to do or that I could do to change anything about what was happening. And it was just this weird sense of comfort that I was going into the next stage of my life and I wasn't going insane about it. And actually, when I was saying with somebody who works Fully Focused, her name is Jade, when I was telling Jade about this, I was like, I'm surprised that I'm not like having mental breakdown, or that I haven't had any mental breakdowns, because there's a countdown on my whiteboard telling me how many days I have left of school, and then that's it, and then I'm done. And she said to me, maybe this is just a sign of you maturing. And I hadn't considered that as an option, or thought that me not being upset was actually a good thing or a sign of growth. I thought it was all going to flow over me and I was going to lose it. And actually, I didn't. And one of the messages that I left to myself at the start of year 13 was, Vanessa, I want you to stress less. Let's give ourselves a message to our future selves. Vanessa, I hope that you stress less. I really do think that message stayed with me and almost became like the default to anything that I was experiencing or something that was coming at me. I was just like, let's find a way to not stress about this. So I really do believe that that big change in May was a result of me not letting my overthinking get the best of me, because life is coming from you, not at you at the end of the day, right? So if I chose to be really upset about leaving school or lose my mind about the fact that I was growing up and getting older and entering adulthood, then I probably would have been in a very different place. So, as a summary, if you are turning 18 this year, or if you are leaving school this year, whatever it is, if you know you're going to experience a big change this year and it's the inevitable, I thought that I was going to be extremely unprepared for it, and maybe you do as well. But actually, I hope that me telling you all of this is proof or a sign that it actually isn't as bad as we make out in our heads. I think we maybe try and create a more emotional turmoil inside of us to help us understand how to navigate a big change like that, when actually the best thing you can do for yourself is just experience everything as it goes and be present. Because at the start of 2024, I knew two things for certain. I knew that I was going to be turning 18 and I wasn't going to be a child anymore, and I knew that I was going to be leaving school for good. And I think in my head I was convincing myself that those two things had to be a bad thing because they were such big changes or big changes. But in reality, they're actually just a milestone, and they are proof and evidence that you have made it through the previous years, and that growing up isn't a bad thing, it's actually quite a blessing. So I really hope that you do surprise yourself in 2025 and you do experience something that proves to you how strong you actually are. Okay, I don't know how I'm supposed to move on from all of that, but I just am. In May, I also got to attend the Acolyte premiere with Disney+, and I am mentioning this in this video because the outfit I wore is the bane of my existence. And my outfit was actually featured in WWD. What? But that was truly like a wow moment. But I'll tell you what was even more jaw-dropping. Amandla Stenberg, the actor who features in The Acolyte, the actor that I've looked up to and watched multiple projects of growing up, commented on my Instagram post from the premiere. Now, getting a like or a celebrity viewing your story is one thing, but commenting on a post, I couldn't believe my eyes. So hopefully one day, if we ever get to meet, I would definitely be bringing this up. Now we're getting into the summer months, so starting off with June, I got to attend Summertime Ball, and that was thanks to the perks of being a Global Academy student, so we were all very stoked that we got to attend the event. And as someone who is quite introverted, I have always shied away from concerts, festivals, basically any big crowd that involves thousands of people and being cramped in one of them. Something about that just always gave me a lot of anxiety. But again, I do think that could have been me just convincing myself of more problems that actually didn't exist, because I had an incredible time and I realised how much fun I was probably missing out on. So this year I would definitely be making a conscious effort to do more things like that and just enjoy whatever it is you get the chance to enjoy. I also had to include this honourable mention in June. I got to attend this event hosted by Curl Kitchen. It was a baking event, and if I was asked to do this years ago, I would have fallen flat on my face and fainted, because I am who I am because of the cake videos that I grew up watching. So being able to go to an event where I was surrounded by people who also love hair empowerment, and you also get to bake a cake and compete, I couldn't have dreamt up a better scenario for myself. So best believe I was putting my apron on, buttoned up to the top, and I was ready to go. And the best part about it all is that my team actually won. We won best cake. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better day. July was the month of getting more out of my comfort zone and just getting out of the house. I don't know if it was because it was my last summer holidays that I wanted to be out more and more, or if it was just the fact that I was maturing. I really didn't want to fall back into being a homebody and bed rotting, because I knew it didn't bring me any long-term joy. Maybe it might sound nice to scroll on my phone for hours and hours in bed, but long-term, it didn't make me feel good after it at all. So being around my friends or doing fun little activities or day trips really did bring out the best in me over summer. So I applied to be a model for a 90s style photo shoot, and if this was me maybe a year ago, I definitely would not have applied for it, because I would have been too scared to show up somewhere where I didn't know anybody.
I know, just the whole idea of applying for something online, no other people are also applying for it, you're gonna meet more people, just the whole concept of it, I was like, I don't want to go there, I just rather not.
Even though I knew it would be a good opportunity for me, it would be a good chance to network and meet new people, I probably wouldn't have taken the chance. So I'm really proud of myself for putting myself up for it and actually being picked to go. And that whole day was literally just good vibes and was so much better than I pictured in my head. I got to meet so many cool fashionable people, like-minded creatives, and it really was just showing me, again, Vanessa, anything that you're scared of, you're just making it up in your head, because you would have missed this if you let any irrational fears get in the way. Also in July, I spoke on a panel at MadFest, and MadFest is said to be the UK's most disruptive marketing, advertising, tech festival. So this was already a huge deal for me personally, because I'd been studying media in college for basically the past 4 years, and my dream job was to enter either a media or advertising agency. And let me tell you, this event was absolutely insane. Genuinely, I couldn't believe what I was walking into, because it was such an incredible layout. This is literally a massive conference slash festival, so there are so many different stalls, loads of different talks happening at the same time in different areas. So the fact that I was walking in there knowing that I was going to be a speaker on the main stage, whatever was going on in the main stage was being aired out in real time. So the fact I knew that I was going to be on that screen was just, let's stop and smell the roses for a minute, you know? So I want to give a massive thank you to Lisa Goodchild for giving me the opportunity, because I could not have asked for a better day. In August we went to Lanzarote and I got to stay in my first ever adults only hotel, and that was the sign that adulthood wasn't going to be that bad for me. When I tell you how bad I needed to relax at that point, and also how peaceful that whole holiday was, I would do it again and again. And speaking of adulthood, in August I officially turned 18 years old. My 18th birthday actually wasn't as daunting as I thought it was going to be. It was one of the best days of the year for me. And one of my birthday presents was to go and see Abba Voyage, which I went to go and see at the end of August with my mum, and I had the most incredible time. If you ever get the chance to see Abba Voyage, or you're thinking about it, I definitely recommend you look into it more and you try and go there, because it is an experience like no other. Now September was really a month full of firsts. So remember that dream job I was just telling you guys about? about being at a media agency. I got it! I officially started my apprenticeship as a media planning apprentice in September, and just the first whole 2 weeks of being at my new job was just so much to wrap my head around, because I just couldn't believe that I was now a 9-to-5 babe. I was a corporate girly. I was employed. But all jokes aside, I was actually really excited, and again just couldn't believe that this was my new reality and it was a new beginning. And what's so funny is that in literally my 2nd or 3rd week of being at the agency, I got to present at the Agency of the Year presentation, which if you work in media, you know it's probably quite a big deal in the company that you work at. So sharing my journey as a new starter with my friend, working with the most senior people in the agency, was just mind-blowing to me. You had to pinch me at that moment. In September, I got to attend a London Fashion Week show, and this was for Helen Anthony, which is a brand that I have had my eyes on for quite some time now, and I was really manifesting working with this brand in some capacity or just attending one of their shows. So being able to go there was a huge achievement. And I also got to flip the switch because I got to walk for a London Fashion Week show as well. I walked with the designer Lena Denkova, and my whole look was just ethereal. And when I say September was a month of firsts, it really was, because I got my furthest ever callback for an audition in September. Now I know it may seem quite small in the grand scheme of things, but if you're an actor, you know how crazy it feels to get a callback for something that you really want. And despite the fact I didn't get the role, just the experience of knowing that I could make it that far, and with a bit more work and with a bit more effort and the right timing and the right role, I know that I can do that. I was surprised at how easy it was for me to let it go, because again, I'm going to use the same example. A few years back, if I had gotten a callback for a big acting role and I didn't get it, I would have been absolutely heartbroken. But thanks to all the lessons that I've learned, I was able to just accept the learnings that I got from that experience and that audition process and apply it to whatever's going to come in the future. So it really was a major full circle moment, and once again just proof that your thoughts do become your reality. And that can be either good or bad, positive or negative. Now, thinking about my vision board, in the beginning of 2024, even though I didn't get to book anything massive or feature in a massive campaign, I actually got so many smaller individual experiences, which now I can see is going to build up to help me, hopefully in this next year or the next few years, to allow me to hit those goals that I have been dreaming of since I was a little girl. On my vision board, I had so much about acting and auditions and callbacks, and I think thinking about it surface level, I was like, okay, so none of that really came true because I'm not on set right now. I haven't been in the trailer, I haven't seen my name in the end credits of a film or a series, so it just didn't work out, right? But actually, looking back at it, it was filled with a lot of small wins, which are equally as valuable and as important. So please take this as a reminder to be fair to yourself, because it isn't fair if you just tell yourself that you didn't achieve something just because you didn't achieve it 100%, because in reality, you could be 45% there. You could quite literally be 1% away from your goal, so that does not mean that you haven't achieved anything. Next we have October, which is the first time I got to go to Italy. And let me tell you guys, Italy has been calling my name for years. So the fact that I finally got to go to Italy and spend my time there at a wedding, at the most beautiful wedding as well, it was straight out of a fairy tale. So now that I've had a little taste of Italy, I need to be going back there sometime soon. I was also incredibly lucky to attend the Media Week Awards with my agency. After being a part of the presentation, I was completely good to go. I was fulfilled already, but being able to go to the actual awards night was truly the cherry on top. Going there as an apprentice, maybe a month into work, was just the most surreal experience, and I'm just so grateful that I got the opportunity to go. Next we have November. I got invited to an exclusive Madame Tussauds event where they revealed 3 wax figures of Letitia Wright, and spoiler alert, she was also there. This was my second time meeting Letitia, and what a way to do it, because this event was filled with so much love and support. It was so nice to have such an intimate group of creators and people there to see the unveiling of these wax figures, because the craftsmanship, one, is insane, but two, just being there to be able to witness this major moment for her was something I will eternally be grateful for. Also in November, my mum and I booked a quick trip to Fuerteventura. I'm so glad that we booked that quick trip, get a little bit of winter sun, because it really was so good to just relax for a couple of days. So that is definitely something I'll be trying to implement into 2025. Just trying to find those moments to really practice self-care, relax, and treat ourselves. And finally, December. The first half of December was actually crazy for me, because on one of the weeks I had 3 events back to back. I got to attend the Sonic the Hedgehog free premiere, and the setup for that event was absolutely insane. It was so cool. I got to see Keanu Reeves in real life. What a moment. Then the following day, I went to the Mufasa Lion King premiere. Now, I actually really did not know if I was going to be able to go to this event, so when I got the invite for it, I was over the moon, and I was also panicking because that same night I had my first work Christmas party. And perhaps a few years ago, I wouldn't have cared at all, because it would have been a big socializing event that I was too anxious to be a part of. But the person I've grown into in the past year said, actually, you need to do this and you need to go to both. You literally cannot make this up. I went to the Lion King premiere from work, which that's another story in itself, because the cab situation, London cabs, sort it out now. Went to the Lion King premiere, walked to the carpet, went and watched the film and sat down for almost 2 hours, then came out of the cinema, met up with my mum, who took my big orange dress. I changed into my Christmas party dress and walked 10 minutes down the road to go to the Christmas party. I was really living a double life, a Hannah Montana moment, and despite how stressed I was the day before trying to figure out how the hell I was going to make this all work out, I am grateful for the stories that I'll be able to tell. And finally, we got to spend Christmas back in Prague, which was really nice because we hadn't been there in a bit. It was really great to see some family members that we haven't seen for a bit also, and to just be back there, because I really did miss being there at Christmas time. It is magical. And that is my 2024 wrapped. I have done so much talking. I always surprise myself at how much I can say and talk in these types of videos, but I am really glad with the way this turned out. I actually learned a lot by saying half of this stuff out loud, so that's also a really good takeaway from this video. And I hope that in some of these experiences you learn something that you can take into the next year with you. So the moral of the story of 2024 is that things do and don't happen for a reason. The reality is that I didn't hit and achieve everything on my... That was great timing because both of my camera batteries have just died, so I'm going to end the video off here. But as I was saying, the reality is that I didn't hit and achieve everything off my vision board for 2024. But for everything that we didn't get to see come true, we got back in so many learnings and great wisdom. And just because it didn't happen in the year you thought it would, doesn't mean it's not going to happen in the future. I am really hopeful about 2025, and no matter what kind of year you had in 2024, I'm so glad that you've gone through it, and I hope that you've gotten something really valuable from all of the experiences that you went through. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. But without further ado, wishing you all an incredible Happy New Year. Bye!